So the next deck that I want to talk about is, this is a very small 3-slide or 4-slide deck, but I created this internal classification system of objectives because again, I found that all of us are implementing OKRs in very different ways. And so it's important that we all kind of follow certain similar principles, and this deck will help in understanding that, right? So essentially, we've got company annual objectives and team quarterly objectives. Most of your time will be spent on team quarterly objectives because once a year we'll freeze on our company annual objectives. We might marginally add to them or modify them, but most of the time will be spent on team quarterly objectives. And I've created some sort of a lingo that both company objectives and team objectives kind of fall in 3 buckets. And so the 3 buckets I talk about, the most important bucket, the first 2 buckets are well, actually all 3 have some degree of importance at different phases of the company's life cycle. But so the first bucket is business objectives. A lot of our objectives, in fact, a larger majority of our objectives are going to end up being business objectives. And business objectives follow this one, dominant principle, which is that business objectives are around optimizing customer journeys to achieve the company purpose. Like typically business objectives will be handled by first level of responsibility would typically be sales, marketing, customer success, customer support, product design and management, and engineering. These are objectives that directly move revenue, profit, user base, and essentially achieve the purpose of the company through customers of our organization. I've always kind of added everyone else at the bottom of each of these 3 types of objectives, primarily because while there are primary departments that are responsible for business objectives, all objectives of a company are always the responsibility of everyone in the company to the extent they can contribute to them anyway. So you'll see that as a common theme across 3 slides. But once I show you the 3 objectives, this will be clear. So there's business objectives, which are, as I said, about optimizing the customer journey to achieve the company purpose. And typically, the departments that sort of handle this is product development and sales, marketing, revenue generating, go-to-market, and so on and so forth. Then you've got people objectives or POs. And interestingly, I figured this is sort of optimizing an employee's journey to achieve the company purpose, right? Making sure that we have the best of the talent, best of retention, best of sort of facilities that we might provide to them, empowering and enabling our employees such that they can help us achieve the organization's purpose are all people objectives. And the departments that typically focus more on people objectives will be HR, talent acquisition, finance, admin, corporate IT, etc. Of course, everyone else is also involved. So as team leads of or functional heads of sales, marketing, support, and things like that, you're also going to have your own people objectives. But for certain departments, people objectives are a primary mandate in many ways. Just like the customer is a primary mandate for sales, marketing, and customer-facing departments, our people are a primary mandate for people-facing departments. So you've got people objectives. And then there is the notion of capital objectives, which is optimizing capital efficiency to achieve the company purpose. So things like cost reduction, things like raising funds, things like investments, things like making sure that we're using our capital efficiently. And there could be certain departments that are focused more on capital efficiency than on people or customers. And so their objectives will be probably more around, so departments like finance, procurement, etc., they will focus much more on potentially capital efficiency related objectives, basically. So I want to sort of create this terminology because it helps teams to think about, okay, if I'm a business team, if I'm a sales or a marketing team, most of my objectives will center around optimizing the customer's journey to achieve the company purpose. And I'll make this line really, really clear in the next presentation, but I thought this introduction is important to understand sort of these 3 distinct types of objectives that you'll typically see in your planning session. There might be stuff that I missed, but you'll typically see in your planning session. So that's the second presentation, types of objectives, that I wanted to sort of share with all of you guys.